Unless you can't figure it out, everyone, we're experiencing technical issues. Bars has been booted out of his own broadcast. I'm sure he'll be back in a sec. We'll get started then. Hang about with us. Jordy, is your guitar close by? You want to play and sing something?
Everyone in the comments saying, yeah. Host JD.
Post your requests in the comments.
What the hell
There
happened?
he is.
What happened? Do we do a proper intro, or do I have to, or we'll just restart again?
No one heard a thing. You just we came out of the intro and you were frozen, and then you got kicked.
Yeah,
and we
I know.
entertained the masses in the meantime.
Yeah, it was. I don't know what happened. It was loading, and then it just stopped, and the countdown wasn't working on my thing. So I'm just like, great, I'm gonna have to do that again. Internet's been playing up all weekend. So anyway, we'll start. I'll do the proper intro and we'll get started. So people on YouTube, there you go. You get a couple extra minutes of entertainment. I'm sure Guesty and JD would have entertained the masses. But let's get the proper intro in. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another AFL Fantasy Fanatics round review post round 21. We're recording live on Sunday, the 3rd of August. Once round 21 has finished up and technical difficulties have been put aside because our intro started. I wasn't here, and Guesty and Jordy were sort of here waiting for me to jump back in. But I'm your host, Bales, and you can find me at BAILSDT across the socials. And as I already referenced, got a couple of co-hosts and fellow AFL Fantasy Fanatics jumping on tonight. It's been a couple of weeks since we've heard him. The man's voice. He's been over in Bali. He's been doing a few good things and on a little bit of a holiday, but we've got a Guesty back on board. Guesty, mate, how are you? How was Bali?
Mate, I'm completely checked out of the AFL fantasy season now. I've had a shocker of a season, right? Let's be honest, even worse than last year. And I repeated basically the mistakes I made last year. So it's been a shocker. Got away with the kids to Melbourne, which was amazing. And then headed up over to Bali after the end of the school holidays. So I'm back. I wouldn't say I've been thinking too much about fantasy, and I'm certainly not thinking about my team, but it's glad to be back with you fellas. And let's talk through some games and see if we can line up some people for the next few weeks.
Yep, exactly. And jumping on once again is a fellow co-host, AFL Fantasy Fanatic, is Jordy. Jordy, mate, how are you?
Very good, Bales. Had a pretty good week, so I'm keen to chat about it. Obviously lots of carnage today, but I think he's gone. Bales is gone.
Keep talking through your week, mate. We'll just talk like he's still here, all right? Tell us.
Decent week. I had a decent week. Into overall rank of 191 now, so went up 71 spots, so score of 2441, which is nice. Had a decent week.
Beautiful, mate. Good to hear. As my internet just continued and my computer, I'm going to smash this computer across the bloody wall. I'll tell you right now, this computer's doing my head in. But Guesty, mate, obviously you said you checked out a little bit, but what did you score on the weekend and what's your overall rank looking like?
Yeah, mate, and just while I do that, you're also on the wrong mic setting, I think, so it's a bit echoey there, but I'll just sort of thought I'd let you know so you can fix that while I walk through it. Pretty average week for me. I had the Connor Rosie late out after my trades had locked away. So that resulted in a 2-2-8-3. I don't know if I climbed or not. I'm ranked 7,000, which is disgusting. I'm ashamed. I've embarrassed myself. I've embarrassed my podcast. I've embarrassed my state. I don't know. It's it hasn't been a great year. So not that fantastic. You back with us now?
The proper mic is all set. So hopefully no more dramas. This is really starting to annoy me after. It's literally Friday night was great. It's been downhill since then. It's been a pretty frustrating last couple of days. That's for sure. But my score for the round, so I scored a 24-19. So fairly happy with that score. And that puts me at an overall rank of 2,706. So we're up about 700 spots. I'm just actually calculating exactly how far we moved up. So moved up 716 spots this week. So pretty happy. I did feel like I've left a few points on the table, unfortunately. If I didn't change my team on Thursday, I would have been on for a 2,500, 2,550 sort of score. I had Grundy VC, had Marshall captain, would have got a great score there. I was going, Caleb Daniel to Ryan Myers, which would have gave me 7 points. Instead, I went McKercher to Sinclair, and that cost me 38 points. And then I also changed the VC to Nick Dacos, who certainly was pretty shocking on Saturday night for his lofty standards, and then went captain on Sire, who was solid, but certainly not to the heights of my captain and vice captain. So a bit of a frustrating weekend there. But Jordy, mate, plus and minus 3 for you from the past weekend. I know who your minus 3 is, so if you want to start off with that, feel free.
Minus 3? I'm just trying to remember what we said. Oh, yes. No, I remember now. The minus 3 is, I reckon it's the SA media for not telling us about Connor Rosie he didn't get on the plane on Saturday. You know, there's a captain's run, which is supposed to be his run. He's the captain of the team, his run and there was no one there. No one cares about Port, which is fair enough. But surely someone could have been there and gone, hey, look, Connor Rosie's not out here, and tweet it and let us know, because obviously, as Guesty said, most trades were locked. So that's my minus 3. Luckily I had Doc going out, so I had a trade still, so I was able to trade, but I didn't have many options. So I went I held Rosie, but I went Doc to Jordan Clark and moved Rosie into the midfield, and Jordan Clark got a 102. So that's at least okay. But yeah, minus 3 goes to the SA media, I reckon.
Yeah, this is what annoys not just fantasy coaches, but just supporters of clubs. Like, what's the point of hiding if Rosie didn't fly? Say, just put it out last night. Rosie didn't fly. We're ruling him out. We're going to be bringing in an emergency, which we'll name at a certain point, or just name the emergency up. Like, I just don't understand. Like, Geelong have done it. And I was messaging Holmesy about it, actually, and he was saying about, looking at Trey McKercher and talking about the Rosie whispers. And I thought, Port are generally very good, and they normally let us know. Of course, the time I say that, they don't let us know. So absolutely typical. But who player-wise, plus and minus 3 for you, Jordy, because I thought we'd touch on that first.
Plus 3, my boy Ashy, 135. I'm going to have to give it to him. That was a Thursday night. Got home from work, got a pizza, watched the game. Ashy, 135. He gets the plus 3. And the minus 3, I think Petrarca. That was disappointing, I think. With a good matchup against West Coast. Started okay. I think I'll give him. Although Bales, Sinclair 81 is also there as not quite happy with that, with a great matchup.
Yeah, I think Petrarca gets it because at least Sinclair had an excuse. Sinclair copped a bit of Constanti attention throughout the day, which was very frustrating to watch that on debut. So, yeah, very frustrating. Now, Petrarca, will chat about him, but I dare say he could be on the chopping block for a lot of people this week. Guesty, your plus and minus 3.
Yeah, we'll start with the brighter side of things. So we'll give a plus 3 to Brody Grundy for his 150, which translated into a 300 for me because I had the captain on him. So that was the only bright shining light of the weekend. And the minus 3, you haven't brought it up yet, Bales, but for those of you on YouTube will see that my headshot tonight is Lewis Hamilton. My name there is Lewis Hamilton, and that's for those F1 fans out there. After qualifying 12th last night when his teammate qualified first, Lewis Hamilton declared himself useless. So I'm echoing his thoughts. I'm giving myself a minus 3. But how that kind of played out for me this way. I mean, how can we be in round 21 and I've got a Connor Rosie laid out with a Jed Bustling, a 25 coming onto the ground, and then a Zach Butters, 34. Like, just atrocious. So, yeah, not great for me, mate. Plus, there's plenty others, but, yeah, we'll just leave it there.
Yeah, Zach Butters, that was... we all thought the 46 or 48 was bad. They got early in the year. He decided to go, I can go worse than that. So, yeah, that is very, very interesting for me. We'll chat to him shortly. Plus and minus 3 for me. Well, yeah, again, as Jordy said, I would have given the minus 3 to Port. But I also give the minus 3, Ross Lyon and Dean Cox. Why the hell are you bringing in these spud backup ruckmen? Like, at least Max Heath Young might have a decent, he's had some good moments. But still, against the cherryless North Melbourne, and you're bringing in Max Heath to share with Rowan Marshall, who was great last week, set up the winning goal for Nasiah. And then Dean Cox, what are you doing? It is pouring rain in Sydney, and had been doing it for like 24, 40 hours prior to the game. And you go, oh, no, great idea. Let's bring in Peter Laddams and play him along with Brody Grundy. Didn't matter because Brody Grundy still had a great game. But I'm more annoyed because I would have had them V, C, and C. Instead, I went, nah, I'm afraid of the ceiling. I'm going to go away. And yeah, that's a me problem. But I'm on the podcast and I'm allowed to complain about me problems. So I'm going to be saying that. But no, in all seriousness, -3. Tom Green, what an absolute pretender of a fantasy premium. Pretender. I brought him in against West Coast in round 17 thinking, yeah, he's got a great run home. Finn Callahan's back. He'll get all the attention and he should be fine. No, he's gone 104 with a 50-point save in the last quarter, and he actually marked the ball, which he doesn't do. Then he goes 79, 110 against the Bombers, who have got no one, decimated by injury, 72, and then 67 on Thursday night. And I had to sit there and watch that and watch a guy that I want in my team in Lockie Ash absolutely dominate. So, Tom Green, -3 for you, mate. Get your shit in order because this is ridiculous. 67 from a premium is not good enough. And when you're doing this crap week in, week out, got to pull your finger out. So that's the rocket sent because I've got to keep him. So I've got other issues to deal with. But the +3, a bit of a special shout out to Small Potato, Caleb Daniel, 115. Pretty happy that was able to hold him. And also shout out as well to Ryan Marshall, who did still go big regardless of Max Heath being at the. But the +3, it's going to go to the Adelaide captain, Jordan Dawson. What a superstar. 125 points. Wasn't my highest score this week. He was on 11 points at quarter time. Crows were bad, soundly beaten in the first quarter. Crows are bad. Hawthorn were very good. And Jordan Dawson put the team on his back, kicked 2 goals, including a snap near the boundary, which was cracking goal. But 125, that was his second score over 110 since the bye. So it was a sort of good time to put up another good score, and goes into a West Coast and North Melbourne matchups in the last 3. And then he's got Collingwood, who he does like playing. So if you don't have Jordan Dawson, I think he could be a potential target. But shout out to the Adelaide captain taking the Crows to the top of the ladder. And Jordy, as you tried to get me to say before the pod, the lids are off. The lid's off. We're in the finals, so I'm looking forward to doing that. So I might have to book some flights and everything like that. So we'll see how we go. But we'll quickly recap. Content Creators Cup, proudly brought to you by Infinite Wealth. So we had a couple of semi-finals this week in the only a couple of weeks to go in the Content Creators Cup. So the 2 big matchups, we had Louis up against DC. And Louis got the job done, 23-85 to DC 22-74. So a shame that DC, unfortunately, is knocked out. But I can see here that he's got McKercher on the bench with no emergency because he took the McCarthy score of 91. And I see, Johnson, I believe he must have copped he might have copped a donut looking at this. No, defense, no. You got Tyroo score instead of the 35. So that's a bitter pill to swallow there for DC. I think Louis still would have got the job done anyway. But, unfortunately there for DC going down. But the other part of Hat Chat that was still alive, Nathan got the job done over MJ, 23-89 to MJ 21-53. I know MJ's had a couple of really tough weeks and brought in Jaiden Young this week for a 13 and got subbed out early. And a few people would have gone there with a few of the injuries. So very unfortunate to go for Jaiden Young and have that happen, mate. So MJ's had a couple of tough weeks. But we do have the prelim finals. Lemon up against Nathan. So big matchup there. And Holmesy up against Louis. So pod showdown goes into the whoever wins that goes into the Content Creators Cup Grand Final. So really keen to see who gets the job done there. But let's actually, before we do, Guesty, I know you and Jordox had a I know it's not in the top 8, but you guys had a consolation semi-final, and Jordox got the job done, 23-41, which we'll hear about his week when he jumps on the pod on Tuesday. So let's go through the games and go back all the way to Thursday night, and a bit of a smashing hit. Certainly didn't expect this. Bulldogs winning by 88 points over GWS. And you mentioned your boy, Jordy, Lockie Ash, 135. His first score over 120 in the where scores count for us. He had the 125 against Collingwood in opening round, and now finally we got a big ceiling score. So he was very, very good, along with Tim English, who 2 goals, 3. That could have been a much bigger score. But those owners of Tim English have been very, very happy with his performances. I think he's had 1 or 2 games sub-ton in his last 10 weeks. So really getting it done there. Lockie Whitfield with a 118 as well. Season high 13 marks was really good to see. Him and Lockie Ash just love chipping it to each other. So I think both are really good options. They've got a great run home. So I would be targeting both of those guys. The Bont 97 was solid. Probably could have been a bit bigger. Sort of put the queue in the rack a little bit with about 9 minutes to go. Didn't really do too much after that. But still 97. We take that considering some of the other premium scores that we did get around this week. Matt Kennedy, Jordy, 79. Not a great score, obviously, but for a forward, I guess it's okay. If you don't have him, is he a target for those? Because this was, I guess, the tough matchup. Now he's got 3 decent matchups coming. Would he be someone that you'd be looking at, or would you maybe prefer a couple of those Geelong forwards, which I'm sure we'll chat about later on?
Yeah, that's a good point about Geelong forwards. I still like him. I think he had about 50% CBAs. I'm just looking at the CBA numbers, and he had 14 here. So yeah, he's still in there. I think he's still a good pick. I think he's still a top 6 forward, I think, for us. But yeah, I think maybe you can have a look at what's best. So if you haven't got a Myers, probably your number one target is probably Myers this week. But if you don't have him, then I think he's a good play.
Yeah. And I also want to get your thoughts on Tom Green as well. 67. What do owners do with him? Does he have to go? Like, he's got North Melbourne this week, and he's got, I believe, Gold Coast the week after. Like, it's green matchups, but
yeah. No, just even last week, he just didn't look. I don't know. Like, he just doesn't look. There's something off with him. I don't know what it is. He looks a bit slower. I don't know. It's just he looks off. And last week, obviously that low one as well. It's luxury trade season right now, so I think, if he's one of those guys in your midfield, if your forwards and defenders and all your other spots are good, I think just get rid of him, because I know it's a green matchup, but he had 25 disposals for a 67. So I don't know. He's just not. He's not spreading. He's not marking. He's not. I don't know what's going on. I would just, if you can, I'll just flick him. That's just me though.
Yeah, and to put it into context as well about that, you just said you had 25 touches for a 67. Yes, he had 3 frees against, right? Jordan Dawson had 21 disposals and scored 125 points. That just shows the difference in caliber between a good fantasy player and a not a good fantasy player. Just does it all. Tom Green doesn't mark. He rarely tackles. I think he's got to go as well. And if you can trade him, I'd be trading regardless of the matchups. It's just not getting it done. Watch him put up a 120 if you trade him. But, yeah, I agree. I think he's got to go, just not getting it done. I think that's a learning I've had from this year. I'm not trusting any of these players, midfielders, that don't mark and tackle. Just you get them in. I'd rather get a Dunkley where he goes on a 3-week stretch of scoring 70s, knowing that he'll go on a run after that of going 110s. Whereas Tom Green, who knows when he's going to have a good score again. It's just him, Sarong, even Butters to a certain extent as well. Just these players that don't really mark or tackle. Butters probably a little bit, he does mark a little bit more, but yeah, still very, very frustrating. So he can definitely go. And yeah, Buslinger, who was unfortunately a cover for a few people with the 25, and even a Rouston maybe might have been cover as well. He only scored the 20, so a few lower ones from some rookies there. Moving over to Friday night, which was a cracking game, and being there as well was certainly the loudest I've heard Adelaide Oval for a fair while. Apparently first sellout for a Crows game. Not the first quarter. Yeah, no, not the first quarter. First I think Aaron Bryan said it was the first sellout that was not gather round or a showdown since 2017 prelims. That was interesting. A long time since it's been that full, but a very good game. Crows by 14 points. And Jordan Dawson, as we mentioned, only 21 touches, but he still was able to ton up and still get it done. That was with 11-point first quarter as well. So premiums, that's how you go when you have a bad score. That's for sure. Lloyd Meek, 107, a good score in a really tough matchup there. Really good battle with Riley O'Brien there, who also had a 96 and had plenty of hitouts there. Dan Curtin continues to get good scores, and I really wish I went him over Luke Parker a few weeks ago, because he just keeps pumping out good scores, and I think that the Rising Star race is all but done. I think Dan Curtin's got it there, and I think Murphy, Reid, and Levi are close, but I think that Dan Curtin is going to get the job done there. Unfortunate for Will Day, 89, and unfortunately ruled out for the rest of the season with I think a bone stress fracture again in his foot. So yeah, hopefully fast recovery for him. But that does suck after making his way back and then having to be out again, unfortunately. Isaac Rankin, 82, had massive save to get there, had a 40-point last quarter. Bit of a shades of Mason Wood, Jordy, from last week. He's now got West Coast and North Melbourne. What are you doing with him in the last 3 weeks? Are you keeping or are you trading?
Oh, geez, he's not playing midfield. That's the thing. He only had 4 CBAs. He's basically forward now. So you really relying on those goals. I don't know. I think you can't loop this week either because Crows play the last game of the round. So, it's probably that whole conversation of F7, you loop. I know a lot of people probably looped him this week and maybe you loop into someone else. I think you can trade, but also there's not a lot of options. So I think, yeah, I mean, you probably could put him on field, to be honest, this week against West Coast. And yeah, I think it depends on your team. If that's your last spot, then I think you can definitely trade him. But I think it's that sort of F6 loop that we're looking at.
Yeah. I think with the Crows players, I think all you really want is Jordan Dawson. I think maybe Dan Curtin the forward line, but even hearing like the Crows after the game, like Matty Nixon talking about, it's a team effort, and there's no real player that definitely gets over like 25, 30 touches a game, unless it's like a Crouch that if he was to come in. Even Dawson doesn't get those high 20s and 30 plus disposals. He gets sort of mid 20s and just does it elsewhere around the ground because James Peatling, 36. He scored 36 in round 18 against the Dogs, and a few people were looking at bringing him in, and I sort of thought, I saw that 36 few weeks ago. I don't know if I'd be going there, and he thought, yeah, I'll do it again with the 36. Unfortunate for those that did jump on him, and Dylan Moore was also a bit quiet there with just the 62 points there, but I've got more faith in him turning it around and having better scores. But moving over to Saturday's games and Melbourne and West Coast, with Melbourne getting the job done by 83 points. And some good scores here in Salem and Gawn, both with 113 each. Gawn a bit quiet in the second half, looking like a 140 at one stage, but slowed up in the second half. And Ryan Marrick had 112 points, so he sort of came back, and we probably thought he was done for a lot of his scoring, but playing half back again, taking a bulk of kick-ins again, and scoring well. So there you go. Cozzy Pickett with a 103. Guesty, is there any interest in Cozzy for you? There's no real tags coming up for the remainder of the year. He's playing a good role in the midfield, and if he's not getting tags, he seems to go quite well. Any interest from you with Cozzy? Because he did this with only one behind, so didn't even take the goals to get this score.
That's the problem, right? Like, look, I don't like Cozzy as a player, and not as a fantasy player. Too impact reliant, can go missing for way too long. And what are you going to do? You're not going to put him in midfield, right? You're going to be looking to put him in the forward line. And I mean, one of the things I just keep looking at with our forward lines is I traded out Caleb Daniel this week, right? And he goes, what was it, 115 or something along those lines. So, do we really want to keep messing around in this forward line where there's not that huge difference between, I don't know, maybe there's kind of the top 3 to 6 forwards compared to, possibly the top 8 to 11 or 8 to 12 forwards. So, yeah, I'm not sure. That's where you want to be playing.
Yep. Well, I'll tell you one person you'd rather Cozzy over. That's Christian Petrarca. He has had, since he scored the 121 against West Coast earlier, so he had a great run from rounds 5 to 8 where he had 4 tons in a row, including a 114 and a 121 against Richmond and West Coast. But Guesty, since that point, 3 tons, a 104, a 105, and a 105. But 4 of his last 5 have been a 70, a 70, an 84, and a 78. 3 scores under 80 out of his last 4. Would he be someone in the forward line if you don't have a Brian Myers or a Jeremy Cameron, because they've both got the Bombers this week, or even a Matt Kennedy? Would you be happy enough to make that move and trade Petrarca out?
You asking me, Bales?
Yeah, yep.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess. But look at what Matt Kennedy scored this week. What was that, 78?
Yeah, so that was his first
yeah.
sort of lower score for a little bit.
Sure, but not much different, right? So, yeah, look, I mean, you're playing around the fringes, right? You're playing around the fringes for these little kind of maybe bumps. And I imagine that the rest of your side is going to be pretty fucking sorted if you're playing with these kind of trades.
Yeah. Jordy, any differing thoughts? Because I know you were frustrated with Petrarca yesterday.
Yeah, I've just noticed his CBA's last 2 weeks are down. So I've noticed Caleb Windsor has gone inside midfield. That's been a change last 2 weeks. So I don't know whether Melbourne has sort of gone, all right, let's sort of play Petrarca more forward and let's try Windsor inside. So he's getting less CBA time. But obviously, a 70-80, as Guesty said, like other forwards are doing that. But I don't know. I think there's a clear change at Melbourne. I think they're letting him just be more of a forward for this last 4 weeks, I reckon. And I think they're going to try and roll Windsor through there and some kids. So I think you can trade him if there's other options. This is obviously very luxury. Say your midfield's great and everything, maybe you can look at a matchup sort of thing like a Geelong. But that's who have they got this? Who have they got this week?
They got the
Dogs, yeah.
This week.
Yep.
Yeah, they go what Bulldog? They go Bulldogs, then Hawthorn, and then Collingwood. So it's not really too great for the last 3 weeks of the season. They're all pretty tricky matchups. So it'll be an interesting one. Yeah, maybe try and get the midfield ceiling scores first. But
I'll definitely do that. Yeah,
he's
someone it's like if you went to say a McRae, like McRae, I'm not really a big fan of McRae at the moment. Like he's not really doing. He's basically the same as Petrarca. He's going out of the midfield as well. So you really have to weigh it up. Not a priority, but yeah, I am a bit worried.
Yeah, exactly. We did have a couple of super chats here as well. So Stu had the first one. So thank you, mate. He's saying Bont or Rao rest of year. So guess if you had to pick one of those two, who are you picking, Bont or Matt Rao?
Well, there's a bit of a price difference between them. Rao's been kicking goals the last few weeks. I probably wouldn't.
So
is there?
There's only 10. Actually, there's only 10k. There's only 10k. Yeah, because Rao's 1.14, Bont 1.15.
I think I would probably pick the Bont over Rao just because of the track record.
Yeah, and I guess they're pushing to make the 8, and they need to keep winning. So you think Bont's got to be a big part of that. So yeah, probably lean Bont slightly as well, but Matt Rao is also.
Although Matty Rao's got Richmond, then Carlton, GWS, and Port compared to GW.
They played Richmond on the weekend.
There you go.
So yeah, they got Carlton though, very good matchup. So I think that there's for sure that could be a sugar hit coming this week there. Chris has got this one as well. Thank you, mate, for the super chat. Rosie and Green to Goulden and Andrew Brayshaw, or Rosie and Archer May to Dunks and a green dot. Well, I wouldn't be trading in Andrew Brayshaw at the moment. I'll tell you that right now. He's been very, very frustrating. And Goulden's got Brisbane, so I'm probably leaning to the second to there. Jordy, would you be in agreement there? Obviously, just barring see if Rosie's back next week.
Yeah, I think Rosie's going to play. I know this whole illness thing. I reckon his hand was real sore, and they've used illness for it. And I reckon, I think he needed an extra week, and I think he's gonna play. I like Dunkley. I think he's a good pick.
You'd go Green instead of Rosie. Green to Dunkley, and then Archer May down to a green dot.
Yeah, I reckon that's what I'd do. I think Rosie could potentially play, and I agree with you. Brayshaw, you can't really trade into that off some 80s and 90s. So yep. Green and Dunks.
And when they've got they got Port this week, which might be okay, and then they go Brisbane and finish off with the Dogs. So not a great run there as well. So yeah, let's talk motorsport. Obviously, shout to cousin there, Daniel. Guess he's asking important question: what's Hamilton's favourite footy team?
Oh, geez, it's got to be some Premier League or something along those lines, isn't it?
It's a good shout, yeah, obviously, because for those playing like home, Lewis Hamilton is British, so I do like that one. That probably is what he would be looking at there, I reckon. So, Dan, you might have to look that up, actually, see his favourite team there. But pushing through the other scores here, so Tom McCarthy with a 91. Obviously, Jordy would very happy that we had him emergency in the same line we had Rosie. That was certainly one thing that we were thankful for. But, yeah, very good score from him and makes some more money. So he's actually up to a price of 685k, still got a 48 break even, so could still be that premium on the bench there, but he's getting to a point where he's not going to be too far away from one of those top end premiums to get that 2030 premium if that is where you want to go with your team. Obviously, we mentioned about Petrarca there as well. So that was pretty much it from that game there. So we'll move over to Gold Coast and Richmond. So we've got a couple of games on at the same time, including the next game as well. So Noah Anderson with a 123. Jordy, I know, was very, very happy with his boy going quite well there. Fiorini, 107. So if you went there, you'd be very, very happy with that. And yeah, very good score from him. Keeps getting that done. Matt Rao with a 106. I thought that was going to be an absolute monster. He was on like 50 at quarter time. Slide up after that, but still 106 is not too bad. John Noble with a 103 was good and put up a good score. But besides that, not really much other relevance besides a few people might have gone for Bailey Humphrey, just the 62 points there, kicked 3 goals in that. And Sam Flanders, if you've got him, just trade. Get rid of him. He's not getting it done. 56 points in a great matchup like that. No, we can't be having that this time of the year. So he has got to go. I'd rather play McCarthy on field. He's got a much a better role, so that's for sure. Moving to the Sydney and Essendon game, some big scores here. Brodie Grundy with 150 points with 39 disposals for a ruckman. And unfortunately, Errol sort of gave him the cold shoulder and could have given him his 40th touch, and they told him after the game, and he seemed pretty disappointed that he didn't give the handball there and said he was told not to handball to ruckman. So, but no, Grundy, he's in great form, and I think he's the All-Australian ruckman this year. I think he's got to be in there. Errol Gordon with a 114 looked good, even in the wet conditions there. Callum Mills, 100 points. Guesty, where do you sit with Callum Mills? He's really had those 260s where it was really sort of chopped up ground against the Dogs at the SCG that serves as bad, and then had another 60 against the Saints where he was on that at 3/4 time, but had a -1 point last quarter, but keeps knocking out these 90s and 100s. Is he someone that you're happy putting there at D6, or do you think still, if you've got the ability to, going him up to a maybe if it's a Sinclair or a Lockie Ash or someone like that, you'd still make that move?
Look, I mean, I think the defenders are scoring, the high-end defenders anyway, are scoring at such a high level that you probably need to take advantage of those points if you can. At the same time, Callum Mills averaging 100 in the last 3. For someone like me, he's a solid D6. So, yeah, it just depends where your team's at.
Yeah, maybe even have enough cash to go McCarthy up if you want, and then have Mills as your D7 potentially. That could be a play there, because I believe Sydney have got Brisbane this week, so you might be able to loop him because he plays first, and then they've got Geelong the week after, and then finish off with West Coast. So it might be a decent couple of scores in those last few games there. So we'll have to see. But Mills is going along pretty well and taking some kick-ins. Took the 4 on the weekend to Blakey's 7, which was solid to see. Isaac Heaney with 100 as well. Wet conditions. Surprised he didn't lay a tackle, which was surprising. Normally Heaney in the conditions can lay a few tackles, but none for him. But a ton is not too bad. Along with Chad Warner with a 95, had a couple of decent scores last few weeks, but mixed in there with some low scores. So just like every other forward. So you're not trading him in. You're probably not trading him out either. Zach Merritt copped the James Jordan tag for just a 76. So again, it's not as bad as like a Zach Butters, right? 76 with Jordan, who you'd probably say is the tougher tag. But the only problem is Essendon have got Geelong next week. So if you've got Merritt, he might cop the Mullen tag there because Mullen did that good a job, and people are talking about how good Mullen did, and that's a weapon they can use in the finals. So I'd be, if you've got Merritt, Jordy, would you still be happy enough trading him, knowing that there's a potential Jordan tag, potential Mullen tag, and then he's got, I believe, the Saints. So who knows if Winhager does anything, right?
Yeah, I think you probably do have to be worried about it. Butters 34 is like crazy, which Mullen's done. Yeah, I'll have to have a look because they play Friday, so I could potentially loop him, put the E on him. Maybe I can go him into McCarthy if I have to. But yeah, I think probably you can trade if you need to. Luxury. Yeah, I don't know what I'll do. I might loop him. So I've got other issues.
Yep, that could be a good shout. Moving over to the Collingwood and Brisbane game, and Brisbane getting the job done by 27 points. So I think it's Collingwood's 3 of their last 5. I think they've dropped. So it's going to be very interesting. They need to win a few more games because finals are very fast approaching. Only the 3 weeks to go. But Hugh McCluggage top scoring with a 119. Very good performance from him, along with Josh Dacos, 113. Been really solid. I flagged a couple of weeks ago. I remember I was like, do I trade him out with a few tough matchups? No, he's still going along very, very nicely. Took a decent, well, he took 2 kick-ins because there weren't too many from Brisbane there, but had a couple of CBAs, not too many, just the 4, mostly in the last quarter. But yeah, he's just getting it done, and I think he's someone that we hold for the remainder of the season. But Josh Dunkley, Guesty, 113 points. That's now, I don't even know that's back-to-back scores over 110, but I'm trying to get up his stats of the last few weeks. So since the mid-season bye, had the 78 against Port, but then he's gone 137, 133, 112, 113, priced at 1.07. If you're looking for a midfield upgrade, would he be someone that you'd be wanting to target?
I got a tough match up in Sydney and then Freo next week, but yeah, he's been a run going at 120. He's in form in the last 3, so well, he's definitely someone you're probably going to be considering in your midfield mix.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Tough matchup this weekend. Sydney did have a 130 though against them early in the season. So if you can repeat that, we'd be very, very happy as a Dunkley owners there. But he's just getting it done, and he did that with the 31 touches and only 6 tackles. So just shows what. And he again, you just love him as a fantasy player there as well. And the DJ says Dunkley loves tough matchups, and you're probably right. To be honest, you might be a lot of tackles on offer for him in the next couple of weeks. Will Ashcroft with a 109 as well. Lockie Neal with a 112. So all the midfielders for Brisbane getting in amongst the action there. Sidebomb was the only other Collingwood ton there with a 101. And then Nick Dacos with a 92. Really disappointing. That last quarter was woeful. I think he had a couple of handballs and 1 tackle there. He'll respond, right? First low score in a while, but didn't really cop much of a tag and just didn't really get involved. I actually thought Collingwood actually ignored him a fair few times watching that game. There were a number of times he was free, and even Josh thought, no, I'm not going to pass to you. I'm going to go longer, which maybe that was not the right thing to do, end up losing the game. So hopefully Nick gets amongst it in the next game, which I'm sure that he will. Dane Zocco with an 80. I think I'm still happy to trade him just with that Liz Frank issue he's going to be managing. I think if you can trade him out, I think there are other defenders that don't have any of those issues if you're in a position to do so. Ned Long, 46. There will be some people out there that are stuck with him there, and 46 is just not good enough. And I remember I picked him up in draft because my boy Lairdy was out in the draft league, and that 46 certainly didn't help with me losing my match up there. So that was fantastic. But that is it from that game. So moving over to Sunday. But as always, we always shout out our sponsors for the season. That is our good friends at Game Day Squad. And they've got a number of sports coming up there. So even though the footy season is coming to a close, the finals. So there'll be no AFL Fantasy, obviously, once round 24 is finished. But there'll be fantasy footy during the finals on Game Day Squad for AFL, along with the AFLW, which kicks off in just over a week as well, along with the Premier League, which is also a couple weeks away. So some big things happening at Game Day Squad. And if you guys haven't signed up, you can jump in the action. So head over to gamedaysquad.com.au and use the code BAILSDT at sign up, and you get yourself 3 free common packs valued at $21. But you get to get them absolutely free, and you get to use them whatever sport you like. So all the sports coming up, you can choose whatever you want. Could be AFL, NRL, Premier League, whatever you want. AFLW, you can pick what you want there. And Game Day Squad, best thing about it is it's free to play. So head over to gamedaysquad.com.au and use the code BAILSDT at sign up to get some free goodies. But moving over to St Kilda and North Melbourne, first game on the Sunday, which was Ryan Marshall top scoring in a 9-point win for the Saints. Just again, really good stat lines there, 24 touches, 6 marks, 5 tackles, and 32 hitouts. Was really good to see. I feel like that could have been a 170, 180 if it wasn't for Mac Teeth being in the team. But very, very good score from him regardless. Colin McKercher, Jordy, we traded him out. 119. We heard rumours of him training in the forward line on the Thursday. So I don't really know why he was training with the forwards on a Thursday, but then playing halfback. But we know he's a better halfback anyway. So I guess, yeah. What do you, if you're in a really luxury position, is he just still a hold for you? He's got the Giants this week, tough matchup, or is it still a case of, do you think that could happen at any point? You could see maybe a switch of role at any point. So are you wanting to trade, or is he maybe the perfect 23rd premium defender mid you can have on the bench and loop between the two lines?
Yeah, this is a tough one because I thought that he was going to go forward potentially, and if he'd drop a 50-60, and I thought that was a risk. So there is that risk there, and I was like, you know what, I just want to jump off. it was a risk to take, but these are the sort of moves you have to do, I guess. Try and go ahead and try and predict that because he's highly owned. So that's sort of what I try. But he looked unreal, like 36 disposals and had the most kickouts. So like I don't know, I can't really see him moving now. But yeah, you probably just got to hold him now. Hey, like I don't know if he's going to go forward. I know he's training there. I know.
I didn't
unless,
see this game.
Yeah,
What was Caleb Daniel doing?
the same, just
Just
half back.
getting the ball. Just getting the ball.
Jesus Christ.
Human, yeah.
Well, on
These
that,
guys are
Jordy.
so tough. Yeah.
Well, on that, Jordy, what Caleb Daniel, for those coaches that held, he was probably someone you're probably looking to trade, but do you still trade him? 115, not many forwards could do that. Like Baz, Kennedy, maybe a Myers are like the three that you could probably say are capable of doing that. First ton since round 3. So it's been a long time between drinks there, but do we still trade him out, take the score and run? Do we hold? Where do we see it? Is he an F7?
I think you got to, like, if these guys are putting up 115s, you probably have to hold them. Like, unless you haven't got a Myers or something, like a gun that you're missing. But really, they're doing a fine job with the rest of the forwards. So, well, this week they did. Yeah, I mean, you can't trade that now, can you? I mean, I'd probably look if you've got a Green or a Merritt or something. I think you got to go there first over these guys. So
I agree.
they definitely give themselves extra weeks. I think unless something comes out during the week from Drew Jones or Goat Fantasy about McCurch, you're definitely playing forward or something like that. I mean, he's just put up 2 tons, so I think he's not your worst priority. But yeah, bit of a risk we took, but sometimes they don't come off, sometimes they do.
Yeah, exactly. Harry She's at 117. Jordy, I know you'll be looking potentially at him as early as this week, so we'll chat. I'll show you chat about him when it comes to your trades. But he's still a very good target. He just gets it done, right? He had a couple of scores that are a little bit lower, but I think it's because we hold Shizu at such high regard that we're like, we just want 110s every week. And he's pretty much doing that last few weeks. He's just getting it done and just roaming up the ground in the role that he was playing the back part of last year and not as much deep forward, which is what we like to see. Nasai Wangani Miller at 108. A lot of us are probably disappointed with a 108, but it's still a good score. You still take a 108, right? But it's when you got some other guys went 150s and 36 touches. This could have been a monster. A couple of behinds, only 3 marks, 1 tackle. Just didn't really get into the space where he got those little marks. But again, absolute gun. And if you don't have him, I still love him as a tie. He's got Richmond, then the Bombers. So you're going to want him over the next couple of weeks. Jack Sinclair, I still think is a good target. Had 81 points. Didn't take a mark because Constanti was running with him. So for the fact that he got a little bit of attention but still scored all right, it is not too bad. So I still like him as a target with that good St Kilda run coming up. As Joy said before, Jack McRae, we're probably not targeting at the moment just with I wouldn't be shocked if he was sub next week, the way St Kilda are going at the moment. Maybe Jack still comes in, they put Jack McRae sub and they flip it around. Wouldn't be shocked. So I wouldn't be trading in him.
Yeah, he's had still 66% game time again this week. That's the 3rd in the row. And the last quarter, he had 1 CBA. So last week, he still came on as the sub, but last week he had 0. And I don't know, it's just not really, I wouldn't be trading into him. And I think you can potentially trade him out if he's named on the bench or something. And that, I think I would say if you follow that Saints Nation on Twitter, he's been posting a lot of training notes, and that's, we saw the steel shoulder injury a couple of weeks ago from him. And if we didn't see that tweet, a lot of people traded him. He did a shoulder, did the 46. Now he's sub. So he's been saying a few things about McRae. So I'm just keeping an eye on that.
Yep. No, good shout. Boxer was solid as well. So if you had him as cover, then he would have been not too bad. But 81% Tog. Ross, where was this? Where was this 8, 9, 10 weeks ago? Why were you playing him 45% game time, 50% game time, but now you're playing him 81%? Doesn't make a lot of sense. But he was pretty solid there with a 65 there if he had him as cover. Luke Parker gave me a bit of a false sense of think he was going to be a good fantasy player on the run home. I was wrong. His role was a lot more forward. So if you've got Parker, he's someone I'm looking at trading out this week as well. And if you've got him, I would also consider doing the same. And Jack Steele with the 25. Ross said he was sore, and that's why he was sub. But then we heard talk from obviously Drew Jones saying that maybe is it something to do with potentially is he maybe out the door end of the year? That's something probably to watch as well. So he's going to drop a heap in price. So hopefully you guys were able to jump off of Jack Steele there. Moving over to Geelong and Port Adelaide. Geelong getting a big win here by 88 points as well. And Max Holmes just continues to get it done. 136 points. He was great. 35 touch with a couple of goals. Along with Grind Myers, who Guesty has been getting CBAs, and he was actually the third highest CBA guy behind Mullen and Atkins, and it was all really close together. Like Mullen, Atkins, Myers, Baz, and Holmes were all really close together, and it was those 5 players, and then there was no other guy in the midfield. So the fact he's got the Bombers this week, would he be someone that you'd be looking at targeting? Even though he's a little bit more expensive, but he just seems to be one of those more safer forwards that we've got.
Yeah, well, look, he's one of these Geelong players that we're potentially looking at bringing in, right? Especially with the Essendon this week, and then, of course, Richmond in the grand final in a couple of weeks' time. So, yeah, definitely in consideration for coaches.
Yeah, agreed there. Baz with a 112 was pretty solid as well. So if you don't have him, he's still someone that you can definitely look at bringing in. Sean Manor, 94 as well. Kicked 3 behinds there, but he could be a bit of a smoke in the forward line if you want to go a little bit unique there with the good matchups coming. He's just a very good player. Just gets it done more often than not. Jeremy Cameron, who got a Lockie Jones tag, as Jezza said post-game. Obviously, Lockie Jones didn't leave his side, but was still able to kick 6 goals and have 82 points. But Jordy, you sort of look at the matchup against the Bombers this week, who've got a lot of injuries. There's not really anyone from the Bombers that I guess will tag him like Lockie Jones did. So is he someone that's high up on your shopping list in the forward line this week?
Yeah, definitely. Like I need to, because I've still got Mason Wood, so I need to fix that. And I think Myers is my number one, but I don't know if I can actually get there with money. So I'll definitely be looking at Cameron for his price. You can also loophole him Friday night if you need to, and hopefully sit back and he kicks another 6.
Yeah, could even be a VC shout, I dare say. If he does what he did against North Melbourne, you might even be able to have a crack at that if you just want to have a little bit of fun.
We saw what Sam Darcy did against Essendon a few weeks ago, or 2 weeks ago. 117. I think he kicked, maybe I think it was just 5 goals, but a big 117.
It was really good. So, yeah, Jezza could have a massive game on Friday night. Also, shout out to Jack Martin. If anyone got stuck with him on field, they're thinking sub, annoying. He played a quarter and a bit, and he outscored Luke Parker by 7 points because he kicked 4 goals in the space of 5 minutes. It was the record for the quickest 4 goals in a row. It was like 5 minutes, 10 seconds or something like that. It was absolutely ridiculous. It was crazy to watch, and he was very good. So if you had that 68, you probably take it, considering that he was the sub. So hopefully you didn't have to have him on the field, but still, just shout out to him. That was pretty incredible watching that there as well. Manny Liddy with a 60. If you, again, had that as cover, not too bad. You take that as well there. Zach Butters, 34 points. Jordy, and I'll go to you because you're the port man here, but I know that Butters is capable of some floor scores, but twice against Geelong, sub 40 is just, sub 50, sorry, is just not good enough. And comes up against Freo this week, and O'Meara tagged George Hewitt, of all people, this afternoon. And O'Meara's been doing jods when Wagner's not being there. So I just assume that O'Meara will go to Butters because Butters is the guy that can get that attention, and he doesn't have much help with all the injuries. Would he be someone that you're happy to trade out?
Yeah, I think you might have to now. Luxury season, I think, if you got like a Dunkley there, I think you can trade him. It's just like, I didn't catch this game, but I thought, if you got a tag, wouldn't you go forward or try and do something different? He was obviously still one of the highest CBAs, for Port. And yeah, to get 34, the thing with the Port is all the injuries. Maybe we get Rosie back, but who else are you going to tag? Horn Francis is not there. Bergman's not there. You're not going to tag Rosie. Like, it's easy just to go and give attention to Butters. So it's definitely a flag. I don't know, Bales, if you saw the game, did he look like he was interested, or like the thing with me is he was the captain today with Rosie out. And usually with Butters, he's got a bit of fire in him, and he's chirpy. I don't know. I didn't see the game, so I don't know whether did he have any of that, because that's when he's at his best, when he's fiery and doesn't matter about the tag. He'll give it to you, And I remember last year down at GMHBA, he did that and he put up a 130 against Geelong. So it just depends. with Port's season, that's where's his head at, and obviously also the contract stuff as well. That's what I'm worried about, I guess.
Yeah, well, what I saw of the game, he didn't really look like he was interested in beating the tag. Got a few handballs here and there, but didn't really look like he was trying to run over the top of Mullen and try and do what we've seen. Like they said, like Nick Dacos is the only real player that's been able to get Mullen this year. And he put up a 90 or something like that. But yeah, Butters didn't try. He actually had a kick in. I'm seeing here he had one kick in. I didn't see the kick in, but that's interesting that he went down to take a kick in. But yeah, didn't really look like he was trying too much to get around it. Sat off like the last 3 or 4 minutes of the game. Yeah, I'm just not sure. Butters, I'd be trading him. I reckon just with the off chance he does get the tag, and even with Port struggling, I just don't see him putting up any massive ceiling scores at the moment. So I'd be trading him. Moving over to the final game of the round, which was Freo and Carlton, with Freo getting the job done by 27 points, but coming from behind to get the job done. And Paddy Cripps, 134. It's the first time I've seen Paddy Cripps actually put up a massive score at that for quite a while. So if you got him in draft like I do, you'd be pretty happy with that finally, with a good score there. Along with George Hilt with a 122. So he was very good there as well. Had a lot more kicks and handballs, which you don't often see. Luke Jackson with a 110. It always looks nice getting that little late adjustment of a +4, +3, whatever it is, to go from like a 106, 107 to 110. It does look nice, but yeah, the unicorn is getting the job done and looking very, very good. Jordan Clark, who I know that Jordy, you jumped onto with the 102, was pretty solid there. Only had the 1 mark, but still had the 30 touches. So still pretty good that he put up a score with not many marks. Andrew Brayshaw, 90, frustrating. It's back-to-back scores under a ton. And I believe that the first half of the year, he was tunning up more often than not, but we know that Brayshaw can do this in stretches where he just has multiple games of just going 80s and 90s, and then he'll go pump out a 130, 140. So I'm sure that he'll have a good score to end the year. Could even be against Port. But that's, 3 scores, under 100. And funny enough, Brayshaw has only had 1 ton in his last 6 games, and that was a 138 against Hawthorn, and he loves playing Hawthorn. So besides that game, he's just not getting it done. So I wouldn't be trading him in. I still don't think I'd be trading him out. I just don't think there's enough midfielders that absolutely smash it at the moment. Did give away 4 free kicks, but he's been giving away a lot of free kicks lately as well, by the way. So he's given away at least 2 in his last 4 as well. So not very good from Andrew Brayshaw. Sarong with a 66. Guesty, would you be happy to trade Sarong out? Because it just seems like teams are targeting him and tagging him out of games, and he's just not putting up the scores for us.
What's his run coming up for the last 3 games of the season?
So they got Port this week. So you sort of wondered, do they send someone to him there? I'm not sure exactly who that would be. Maybe it's a Drew.
Not, yeah.
Then they go Brisbane and then the Dogs. So it's not an easy run, but there's probably no obvious tags coming either.
Yeah. No, I think well, I mean, look, that's what you got to consider, right? I mean, it's all these last couple of weeks, it's all looking at your team as a whole and trying to pick the runs and the tags and, who's got the easy matchups and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, you just probably got to watch that a little bit. But, yeah, I don't think he's got too many tags coming at him.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. I guess I'd just put him in the same boat as Tom Green. I just think that I just don't like these players that don't mark, don't tackle. Like he had 6 tackles, but only 19 touches. I'm not sure. If he's not your biggest issue, you can hold with no tags. But like, if you've got a Butters or a Merritt, you trade those guys out first, I think. But Sarong's definitely someone that could also be on the chop block as well. But if you got a hold, I don't think it is the end of the world there. Shea Bolton, if you still got him, hopefully you don't. 49 again, just not getting it done there. And unfortunately, Hayden Young, 13 points. Just he can't catch a break this year. Just groin injury, got subbed out early. And I know a few people went there this week. If they had maybe the Bergman and Doherty duo and they wanted to get Doc up, they went to a Hayden Young. And, 13 points. It's, certainly fantasy is a cruel game. And it has been a lot this year. I feel like we've got a lot of injuries that's hit us in fantasy this year. But that is the games there. We do have another super chat there from Stu as well. So he's saying Butters or Green out. This is a good question. I want to get both your boys' thoughts here. So Guess I'll start with you. Who are you trading? Are you trading Butters or are you trading Tom Green?
Look, I mean, for me, I've still got McCarthy on field, right? And I've now got Luke Parker in my forward line as well. So, I'm wondering whether guys like that are going to be bigger priorities. But yeah, it is a very tough question. And I'm kind of leaning more towards trading out of Tom Green than I am Zach Butters. I think Zach will bounce back, but yeah, Tom Green. I just think it's yeah, we've seen way too much of this from him this year.
Yeah, Jordy.
Yeah, I'm the same. I don't know. Green just doesn't, something about Green Thursday night. I'm just like, you can go. Butters, yeah, look, Carlton next week after that, Gold Coast. So that's good for midfielders if he can finish the season off. There's a comment in here about him being a bit disinterested and he's checked out. He's going to the Dogs. I probably do agree. Maybe he's checked out, and Green does have Gold Coast as well. But yeah, I think I'm Green first, and I think hopefully Butters can bounce back, but I am worried.
Yeah. I'm probably going to disagree with you both. I'm definitely Butters out of the two. And I think that the thing for me that puts it in the way of Butters is the fact that Green's actually got something to play for, whereas Butters, I don't think, has got anything to play for. So I feel like I'd be trading him out, but you want both gone. Like if you've got 100K and you can turn both of them into a couple of good players for the rest of the year, I think that's a play as well. So you want both, but I think on Butters, I'm just watching that. It just didn't really look too interested. So you sort of wonder if he's checked out for the year. And I don't think he's going to leave Port this year, but you sort of wonder what the future with him lies at Port. But that is the game. So I think we will wrap up there with our round recap. Apologies we didn't get to any questions. We normally answer super chats on the Sunday night, but we will answer all of your questions on Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. per time, answering all your questions ahead of round 22. So only 3 weeks to go. We are nearly at the end, guys. So a lot of you guys are probably thinking, well, I want a few more weeks to make up rank, but then a few of us as well are probably like, yep, put the queue in the rack for the year and go again next year, or turning your attention to AFLW fantasy like myself. So we'll quickly go through what we're current potential trade plans are. So, Guesty, I'll start with you because I know you love your team at the moment. So you've probably got your plans mapped out for the next 3 weeks. But what are you potentially thinking about doing?
Yeah, look, I might do something like what you were just talking about. Like I've got, my plan was to upgrade Tom Carthy this week. So I've got 230 odd K in the bank. So I've got a lot of cash in the bank. But I might even hold a McCarthy and then try and do what you were talking about and turn like a Zach Butters and a Tom Green into a couple of real killer players. The other thing that's still is killing me is not having the Wang. So I don't know, he's just too pricey now, I think. But yeah, maybe it'd be nice to bring him in to finish off the season. Yeah,
I like it. Jordy, what are your current trades you might be looking at?
Yeah, so it would depend on Rosie if he's out. If he's going to play, I think I'll just keep him. I think I've got a feeling he's going to play. So I'll look at going Mason Wood to someone. I would love to get Myers, but I haven't tried it yet because lockout's just open. So he's my number one. But if I can't get to Myers, I'll probably go to, maybe I'll look at a Cameron, maybe a Manor, Dylan Moore. I don't know, just a forward that's had a good few weeks. So I'm just looking now, last three. These are the top forwards of the last three: Manor, Cameron, Bailey Smith, and Myers. All Geelong players.
They're the top four. They're top four forwards.
Well, sorry, Neil Bullen's number one. He's had a good for the last 3 weeks.
Haz was saying any airtime for Neil Bullen, average 110 over the past three in his West Coast matchup this week. We have seen Neil Bullen put some good scores up in the past. I feel like he's just a really solid draft player, like really good player. You like drafting your forward line, you're going to get some good scores. I don't know. As I said, I feel like the Crows, I probably just want Dawson, maybe Curtin. If you've got him, you hold. You probably don't trade into him, but yeah, I don't know. Neil Bullen can have some quiet games, but he's played well. So if you wanted to go there and have a bit of fun, then why not, right?
Yep. That's it. So I'm probably going maybe one of these Geelong guys. That's probably the best bet. But yeah, it depends on some news during the week. Yeah, don't mind that there. My trades, I'm slightly lost with what I'm going to do because I was hoping to be able to go Petrarca and Parker up to the Geelong duo of Myers and Jeremy Cameron, but I'll be short of doing that by about 30K. So won't be doing that. And Tom Green's lost so much money that it's even a struggle to get him up to someone and then do another
good sideways. So maybe it's just a week where I'd go Ralston down to a rookie, bank some cash, go. Maybe it's a Parker just because he's not getting it done. He's got Giants this week. Don't love that. Maybe just go him up to a Myers or a Cameron, bank cash, and maybe Tom Green goes the following week. So, yeah, I guess we'll see what we do with those there. But that is that's what we might be doing. But yeah, as I said, we're back on Tuesday night. But if you do want to jump over to the Patreon for the final few weeks of the season and shout us a pint or a coffee or whatever drink you'd prefer, you can head over and sign up. So the last month of our Patreon, patreon.com/AFL Fantasy Fanatics. Once season's done, subscriptions are paused, so you don't get charged or anything. So if you just want to say thanks for the season and all the content that's been pumped out, and you want to jump over there and get some team reviews and stuff down the year, then feel free to jump over there. Link is in the description of the video and the podcast there. But Jordy, mate, thanks for jumping on once again. Where can the people find you?
Just Jordan DeSena on X.
Beautiful. Thank you, mate. And Guesty, where can the people find you?
I think I'm going to go back to Bali.
On Twitter, you can find him at Tim Guest AU, or potentially going back to Bali if that's what Guesty decides to do. And you can find me at BAILSDT across the socials, and us at AFL Fantasy Fans on X. As I said, we'll be back on Tuesday night for our Q&A as always, 8 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. per time, and we've also got a couple of AFLW pods dropping this week as well. So me and Tom will be going through our team reveals. So that I know it's always exciting going through our team reveals there. We'll probably do a bit of a recap of the practice games later on as well, because I'll be going through those and watching those practice games from the weekend, because that is only just over a week and a bit before that starts. So looking forward to that. So if you are tuning on YouTube, smash a like and also subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. And if you're listening back on the pod, a 5-star rating and review would be very, very much appreciated. And we'll catch you guys on Tuesday night for our Q&A. So thanks, everyone, and have a good start to your week. Thanks, everyone. See ya.
Happy trading.
See ya.